What is happening? What is up, guys? How is my alpha family doing? Holy smokes, man. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and we break out above, and I got back into the market, and of course, right on cue after I get back into the market with my trading portfolio, U.S. Justice Department is announcing a major crypto enforcement action at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is why the market is pulling back. Don't do anything irrational. We don't know what the news is yet. I'd recommend keeping away from the charts and awaiting the news. Crypto investor, if you don't follow him, shout out. Dude's awesome. Puts charts up on Twitter. I don't think he has a YouTube channel, but the dude his charts are legit, and he's pretty much every time I do something, one of his tweets comes across my screen, and I'm like, oh shit. He literally just did what I did. So obviously I started following the guy because he's an awesome dude. Anyways, this is blockchain backer, same thing. Eleanor Tourette is the one that posted the article. So it sounds like we're gonna get some news. I'm staying in my trade. There's no way they're shaking me out. This could be what takes us lower, and if it does, it is what it is, man. I'm not getting back out of this. Most of the time, these things, we might have a shot down, and then boom, that's, it's not as bad as what everyone thought it was going to be when they come out with the news, and then we just take off. Maybe they come out and give us a little bit of clarity. Who knows? It could be a good thing. So don't freaking just don't be too fearful. There's a reason to be, but don't let it get to you guys. Do what you must, because I don't want to be the one to tell you to stay in the market, and it just literally tanks down to that $13,000 level that we've been calling for. It very well could still do that. Go right back through the 200-day, and it would be a short trip. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think this is the retest. If you jump over to the charts, we'll jump onto Bitcoin. It's the second one down. So let's put it on the monthly like I had it, so you guys can kind of see a better understanding. We had this monthly downtrend and the 200-day moving average coinciding at the exact same time. So when we bust out above that, which we currently are, you jump down to the weekly, you can see a little bit better. Yeah, maybe we come back down and retest the 200-day or the monthly downtrend. It's not a big deal, guys. If we come back through this, then I'd be scared. Just like I sold right before this. You had all this volume. Look how much volume you had. You had this down trend line. You had the 200-day. And I thought we would bounce off and go lower to our price target down here at the 13,900 level. It's not what happened. We actually broke out of that massive monthly downtrend. That's huge. Why did I sell? Because I knew that this is probably going to come back down and test back in here. So this green monthly downtrend line is my sell, or it's going to bounce off, and then we're off to the races. So most likely, guys, we're going to get a bit of a pullback from this news, whatever it is. It could be massive, or it could be enough to bring us down to retest, and then we're off to the races. So I will be trying to figure out how to find that live stream, and we will watch that. Also, I guess I could show you this. I had this brought up earlier. Where is it? God damn it. I wanted to show you guys the Brad Garlinghouse video. He's in Davos right now, and he had some good stuff to say. Man, this is everywhere. Everybody's posting about it. Maybe I'll make a separate... Actually, you guys can hang out for a while. I'm going to have to scan down. All right. I know it's way down here, especially now that everyone's posting about the freaking... I want to bring you some good news with the bad news. So, if you didn't know, Casper is holding the blockchain hub in Davos, Switzerland. Man, literally everyone is posting about that right now. It's crazy. And of course, like always, Brad Garlinghouse is there, and he did a interview, and it was it gave some reassurance onto how this whole thing is working out with the SEC and their case. He seems super confident that everything's going to be all right. I know it's there. It is. Let's jump in. If I can get the volume on.
As you just suggested, has changed in tone from how the last Davos, in terms of just, there was a lot of hype, a lot of noise around all things crypto at the last Davos, and I think seeing the change, and I actually think it's a really healthy change, that there's more focus on utility. Are these technologies are solving real problems? And I think to your question, I think to the extent there are companies solving real problems for real customers, and they're going to continue to grow regardless of the environment. Is there continued contagion? I think we're obviously continuing to hear noise about what's going on with DCG and Gemini. Hard to know. It sounds like that could work out in a constructive way. I think all of this has not been great for crypto at large. But again, if you just focus on companies that are solving real problems, certainly Ripple had a record 2022. We'd rather see crypto do well at large, but we had a great year, signed up more and more customers and more volume going through.
They actually have customers.
In terms of
revenue
for 2023,
important.
We've seen a bit of a bump for Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Are you expecting that to continue, or is this just a little bit of false hope?
Well, I've tried to stay out of the short-term price prediction on all things Bitcoin, or crypto in general. I'm long-term very bullish because I think these are technologies that can solve real problems at scale, and I think when you have kind of new emerging technologies, not dissimilar than, frankly, the internet and kind of the dot-com bubble, sometimes the hype gets ahead of the reality. That comes into balance over time, but we shouldn't forget, really not that long ago, 21 years, Amazon during the dot-com bubble almost went out of business. So the fact that you're seeing some changes in the crypto world, I think, can be healthy for the long-term health of the industry.
And yet FTX appears to be a very high-profile case of fraud. There are serious regulatory and auditing gaps that went on with that institution. And yet at the same time, what I'm reading is so many people have been critical of SBF for having this close relationship with the regulators, the fact that he visited Gary Gensler so many times. So where do you draw the line? We need to strengthen regulation and oversight in this industry, but how close should the relationship be between your peer group and the U.S. regulators who are looking at these institutions?
First of all, I think you're exactly right. We talk about this as a crypto problem, but really this is just fraud, and I think in some ways not that dissimilar than Bernie Madoff. And when Bernie Madoff occurred, we didn't totally restructure how we thought about oversight and regulation of hedge funds. We realized that, hey, clearly in that case also the SEC had overlooked, and if people had reported to the SEC, they should be looking into Bernie Madoff. So I know that the SEC had met a bunch of times with SBF. I don't know the specifics of what types of oversight they were applying. I do think this is a fraud. I don't view this as a crypto problem at large. But to your point, I think regulatory clarity globally is important. And we're seeing a lot of countries. Here we are in Davos, and Switzerland's clearly one of the countries leading in providing regulatory clarity in early stage. You have the UAE leaning in, the UK, Japan, Singapore. The U.S. is notably absent from that list, and I think in some ways the regulators in the U.S. have added confusion to the crypto marketplace.
And let's talk about those regulators in the U.S., the SEC, Brad. Let's get a check-in on what's going on with that lawsuit with the SEC and Ripple. Are you nearing an end potentially? Are you planning to settle with the SEC?
Well, we've always said that we would love to settle, but it requires one very, very, very important thing, and that is that on a go-forward basis, it's clear that XRP is not a security. The SEC and Gary Gensler has very outwardly said he views almost all crypto as a security, and so that leaves very little space in a Venn diagram for settlement. The case is now fully briefed in front of the judge, and judges take however long the judges will take. We're optimistic that this will certainly be resolved in 2023 and maybe the first half. So we'll see how it plays out from here. But I feel very good about where we are relative to the law and the facts.
So are you going to wait for the judge to come out with a decision on this one?
I'm very optimistic, and I think absent some significant change in posture from the SEC, I can't imagine that we won't have resolution from the judge. I also will point out, and I've certainly something I've heard here in Davos repeatedly, is how important this is, not just to how Ripple it goes forward, but also really the whole crypto industry in the United States. And I keep reminding people that outside the United States, crypto is still thriving, Ripple is still thriving, and we should make sure we're continuing to engage non-U.S. regulators as well.
I mean, it's also difficult to say it's thriving when so many people have lost a lot of money speculating, and the key word here is speculating on the price of Bitcoin and various other cryptocurrencies. I remember back at the peak, there was a lot of talk about institutions getting involved. Given what we've seen, given the price action, given the drawdowns, given the numerous amounts of fraud cases that have gone on in the space, doesn't it feel like the hurdle is extremely high, if not impossible now, to get institutions involved? If you were sitting on a board of a pension fund, how could you justify to them that you're going to get involved in cryptocurrencies?
Well, I think it depends upon how we're defining institutional involvement. When I think about institutional involvement with Ripple, I'm thinking about financial institutions, banks, payment providers who are using our technologies to solve a cross-border payments problem. They've continued to engage, we've continued to grow, and so I feel good about that. But look, I think anytime you have this kind of change, people take a moment. I also think, and I pointed out in one of the sessions I was in at Davos here yesterday, is, we talk about, obviously, crypto is down 65%. Tesla is down 65%. Facebook is down about 65%. No one's saying, hey, we shouldn't invest in Tesla or Facebook. So I think we have to, clearly, I would much rather...
What are you doing when you invest in gold and silver, or you invest in stocks? You're speculating. You're speculating that it's going to go higher over time. That's just what investments are. Everyone throws it out there. Yeah, people do stupid shit like speculate on SHIB and Dogecoin and these meme coins. You're speculating on the community behind those coins that's going to get bigger and bigger. Everything is speculative. It's your choice on what you want to invest in. And people are like, oh, look what happened with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and all of that stuff. Dude, that happens in traditional markets all the time. Bernie Madoff, all that shit. You heard him talk about it. When Brad speaks, we listen. This is why it needs to be regulated. And don't think it has gone past us. I know you know this too. Why don't we have regulation? After how many years of me being in this industry, and they could have easily passed very clear regulations. Who benefited? How much of that money went to politicians that, Sam Bankman-Fried donated to? He was the second biggest donor in the elections. Second biggest. Only behind George Soros, of course. Where'd the money go? To politicians. Who hasn't regulated it? Politicians. Easy to get away with when, there's no regulations, right? Anyways, guys, the videos are just a tiny bit longer. I'm going to skip it. If you like this kind of information and content, don't forget that like, subscribe. I love all you guys. Peace out. Till next time.